Hey folks, welcome back to the Launch Point Leader Podcast. This is Beau, and today we've got a really special guest that is joining us. And this is Chris Truelove. Chris is the executive director for the Special Kids Foundation based out of Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And we're excited to have you, man. Thanks for being here. We want to talk a little bit about just leadership with you. But before we get there, maybe give our listeners a little bit of detail about who you are and just what you do, if you don't mind.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me, Beau. I appreciate that. The invite is a blessing and an honor. So my name's Chris Truelove, and I'm from Cleveland, Tennessee, which you may hear that in my speaking while I'm talking today. But grew up there and went to undergrad school in North Alabama, in Florence, Alabama, and then came to Murfreesboro in 93 to get a master's degree at MTSU.
Now, just to stop you there, do you say Murfreesboro or Murfreesboro?
I say Murfreesboro.
It's kind of blends in, right?
A little
right?
bit, yeah.
Okay, all right.
And one of our board members says Murfreesboro, and I was like, okay, all right, we got this thing going on.
That's
here,
a true, like, deep roots person right there.
Her family's long time Murfreesboro.
Okay.
So, yeah.
But you came to Murfreesboro and got your master's degree.
Yeah, and then upon graduation, I was blessed to get to work it was then Middle Tennessee Medical Center.
Okay.
And so worked in a program that we did outpatient. We did pulmonary and cardiac rehab and that kind of thing, and had a fitness facility in there. Because my master's was in wellness and exercise science.
Okay.
So I was feeling good about that. And then in the I got married to Haley in 97. And so...
Well, don't skip over that.
Yeah.
Haley is your wife, clearly.
Haley's my wife, yeah,
97. Sorry. We're going into 2026. Mathematically,
we're coming up on 29 years.
Fantastic.
So,
okay.
Yeah. So, and then we have 3 children, Dallas, 25, Beau, 23, and Chloe, 19.
Which, by the way, Beau, great name. Although I don't think you spell it B-E-A-U.
We don't.
We'll work on that.
Because his given name is Bowen.
Yeah.
And we combined 2 of Haley's grandparents' names together, Bernice and Owen. And so we just shorten it to B-O, Mr. Beau.
Well, that's what my kids say that I tell people at restaurants when we go, like, what's the name? Beau, B-O. Because I don't want you to figure out B-E-A-U. It's not.
Yeah, you're going to butcher
cool.
that.
So
for sure.
But yeah, so go ahead, continue on.
So yeah, so she got her master's. She's a speech language pathologist in the school system in Murfreesboro, and so in the summer of 1999, her best friend, who's also a speech pathologist, called me and said, "Can you come over? I'm working for this small group, and it was special kids, and there was about 5 people on staff, and she asked that I'd come over and do a little bit of quality assurance training because I had a little bit of that at the hospital." And so I was like, sure, I'll do that for you. And so came over, met those folks, met Carrie, the co-founder, just wonderful people. And that fall, Elizabeth called me and said, hey, we're thinking about hiring for our first executive director. Would you be interested in that? And I was like, yeah, I'm not qualified, but yeah, it'd be great. Because I was an assistant director at the time at the hospital. And so Carrie and Elizabeth took me to lunch. We went to Demas's.
Okay.
And we're sitting there.
Another Murfreesboro, like, foundational
right? To Murfreesboro. Yep. Yes. Wonderful family and wonderful restaurant. Yep. So we're sitting there, and this was early on enough in my walk with the Lord that I didn't really understand somehow at times how the Holy Spirit moves on you. And Carrie wasn't talking to me about gut-wrenching stories about children with medical issues and Chris, they need your help, nothing like that. But 3 times I felt like I was about to burst into tears, like just overcome with emotion. And I thought, I'm going crazy. What is wrong with me? And so she said to me, don't say no, but here's what we have to offer. It was $10,000 less than I was making and no insurance. I was like, okay, well,
fantastic
I won't say no.
Deal, right?
Yeah, and I felt like the Holy Spirit was telling me that too. Said just whatever she says, don't say no. We've got time to walk this out. And then I had an official interview with the board in January of 2000, and they called me and offered me the job, and I was like, what is going on here? We were pregnant with our first child at the time, and they didn't offer health benefits, and I was like, oh, no. The one thing that was going through my mind is, how am I going to tell my father-in-law that this is what we're going to do?
Which is the right thought to have,
I was
right?
like, because when we told them we were pregnant, he said, how are you going to take care of that baby? I was like, well, I don't know.
Yes, sir.
Trust that if God's calling us, And he was, because Haley and I were united in that. And then, when Haley and I got to the decision point, she's like, I don't know how we can say no. With all of the things in life stacking up against it, I don't know how we can say no.
Yeah.
So we started there March 1st of 2000.
My goodness.
And have seen a lot of things, a lot of kids, a lot of families, and developed some wonderful relationships during that time.
Yeah. I think when you said you felt the Holy Spirit like 3 times or whatever, you're about to burst into tears. That one of the quotes that I'm reminded of is, pay attention to the things that break your heart, because in that is usually where your calling lies.
Okay.
And that's pretty awesome. So that's a lot of years, Chris.
Almost 26.
Unbelievable. So just give us a little bit of background now. So it grew from what to what is it now?
Yeah, when I started, we probably had about 20 patients. And so that was March of 2000. And in January of 2001, I can't explain it, but we had kids coming from every direction. And we've seen over the years that we serve children from 14 counties in Middle Tennessee. 80% of those, any given quarter you check it, it's 80% are Rutherford County residents. And so, and that makes a lot of sense, because you get in some of the outlying areas, just transportation's hard for a lot of families and all. But we've grown to, we're serving on the regular 600 plus unique children every year that we're open, and just desire to serve more. So we've got some things operationally in the works in the therapy program to impact that. And so I can't talk a whole lot about that right now. I need to get a little more information myself.
Yeah, there's legality around it, right? Yeah, all those
privacy
things.
rules,
Top
HIPAA,
absolutely.
Yeah, all those things. Yeah, PHI's involved.
But just to I want to make sure the listeners understand. We went from 20 to 600 plus
in a year. So over that time, I've gone back and counted this up. We've provided over 500,000 unique services in that 27 years that we've been open.
Okay, so let's start there for a second then. So great story. Going from 20 patients to the...
Probably 6,000 by now. I get in trouble back at the office when I start quoting.
You have that too. I do the same thing. Yeah, I get looks. Yeah,
I get in trouble quite a bit. But
well, let's not talk specific numbers though. It's grown a ton.
Yeah, it's grown a lot.
You've been the leader to oversee. I know there's a board and there's many people that have done this.
Right.
But you've been the guy that's overseen this thing and the growth in the last 25-6 years.
Yeah.
Like what have you learned? Impart some wisdom to us in this whole growth that you guys have had.
Well, one thing, I'm chuckling to myself as you're talking. One thing that I have this internal list in my mind, and this started when I was an assistant director at the hospital.
Okay.
And I would watch other leaders do things, and I'm like, I may not do the right thing, but I won't do that.
Okay.
I won't do that.
Yep.
And then I've had these other things that I've done. I'm like, ooh, I blew it. I'm not going to do that again.
Yeah.
So if you need to talk through mistakes and those kinds of things, I've got the list to cover for everybody.
I feel like we all do. Yeah. Agreed. Yeah.
But I've been so blessed with faithful board people. They're just so mission focused. They're passionate. And our leadership team, through the years, people come and go at times and stuff, but we've got a core group of people that I counted up just a few weeks ago, and the top 5 people, tenured people, average 19 years of service. And so when you've got those types of people you can lean on, it's just so valuable.
I don't have any idea what the average length of service is for a nonprofit, but 19 feels like on the top end of that. That's pretty impressive.
It'd be neat to met that out, somewhere in the world of not-for-profits and see. But we've got some strong people, and it speaks to their passion and their heart.
Yeah.
There's a lady that, her name's Sandy. She works in our billing office, and she started in 1999. And so she's just a rock star. She's tearing it up. So
unreal.
It's good to have those examples around you.
So as we're talking to listeners just about them growing their leadership, their businesses, their nonprofits, whatever they're in, maybe hit on just a couple of points of like, hey, what you have learned over the time. Obviously, you said number one, or one of the things that you said was, I've learned what not to do, right? And some of that has been from looking and evaluating other leaders, and some of it is internally, like, these are the mistakes I have made. Anything else that you would want to say, like, these are some of the things that they're kind of core to my foundation that I've learned over these 26 years?
Yeah. Back in 2019, our board was going through some reformation, and they brought in a consultant, and she was just undoing some things and connecting some dots. And here's your role, here's Chris's role, here's the leader's roles, and all that. And out of that, one of our board members one day, she said, "Chris, do you have a coach?" And I'm like, "No." She said, "The president at the hospital has a coach. Most CEOs have a coach. You need a coach." And so they hired an executive coach for me. And so that's one suggestion that I would make, is get somebody outside of yourself and your organization who can come in, and she speaks truth to me.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't like it, and stuff, but I always need it, whatever it is. But she's helped hone my skills and my leadership, impact that.
Yeah.
And one thing that I never paid much attention to this till she came along, but she uses the Strengths Finders. That's been greatly impactful.
That's Buckingham, right? Marcus Buckingham, I think, is Strengths Finders, potentially. Maybe it's not. We can scratch this. It's okay. I might be wrong, but
I
it's
don't
a
think it's him,
great resource.
It is. And so I've done that with all of my leaders, and I require them to do that with all their people when they hire folks. Because you want to say, "Casey, why are you pressing the gas all the time?" It's just innate in her.
Yeah.
And so it's knowing how to talk to her. It's different with one leader than the next one.
Yeah.
And so we want to be cognizant of their strengths. And like when I literally hired Casey to be our development director, I said, "I'm looking at your strengths, and I'm sorry to say I'm going to drive you crazy." I'm sorry.
Yes.
Because I've been called the brake many times, and I'm like, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And I think that's another thing too, is that we've all got to get in the mirror. I had a former board member would say, can you pass the red face test? So getting in front of the mirror and just realizing that this is who I am. These things can be bad if I let them, but I need to operate in these strengths that God has given me, because God created all of us with strengths, and we all have different set of strengths.
Yeah.
But we need to be cognizant of that and just walk into it.
Yeah.
And when you fumble, just say, "Yep, I fumbled.
My fault."
I own that.
That's right.
And let me pick it up, and let's go to the next step. And maybe like, "Beau, can you help me? I fumbled. Can you help me pick this up and take it to the next step?"
Which is such a great, that's such a humble point to make, but it's such a great point that all leaders need to understand is you're going to mess up.
Yeah.
You're not perfect. There was only one, and we crucified him, right?
Yeah,
I mean, so honestly, we're going to mess up. And when we do have to take that ball, though, and go, "Hey, that was on me." I love the Strength Finders stuff, though.
It's really good.
And talking about how to form this team based around, we can't have everybody that's the same.
Right.
We got to have different strengths and weaknesses so we can all complement one another. Anything else that you'd share, like with your, you're in a different season now, obviously, than you were back when you first started. What are you looking at and working on right now, maybe?
So, we continue to look out there, that 3 to 5 year goal and those things. And we operate every year on a set of priorities. So we're looking at patient engagement, employee engagement, and operational stability.
Okay.
And so as we're going through, we'll start with a SWOT analysis, and we'll pick out the opportunities, and we want to build on our strengths. If there's some weaknesses that have lots of risks tied to them, we'll start looking at that. But those annual priorities, and we have some strategic priorities listed as well, and we list those out, and we have what's called the game. And so is this one important? Oh, it's more important. So we're going to bump that other one down. And then we draw a line on it and say, this is a capacity we have as a leadership team. We're not going to do these things. That's okay.
Okay.
They need to be touched. They need to be dealt with, but we don't have capacity. So leave them there. Don't be working on that, Beau. We're working on these things up here. So as we look at that, we think about, how can we serve more kids? How can we serve with quality and compassion? And so that's something that we're looking into next year, is really building that, some professionalism we need to grow in. We all need that. I'm not throwing rocks at anybody. But grow in some professionalism with our compassionate care. Our therapists and nurses and people that we employ on the patient-facing end, they are wonderful, wonderful, such compassionate people. And so sometimes it's hard in the age of HIPAA and PHI and all that. It's like, well, we probably don't need to be texting family photos and stuff to each other and that kind of stuff. But it's a line that you get to because our people are so loving and so caring, and the families feel loved and cared for. And that's, at the end of the day, we want to see kids' lives improved, and that when they leave us, they've been changed for good. They've been helped and improved, and that the families feel support, because it can be very lonely for our families with children with special health care needs, and they need some days they just need somebody to put their arm around them.
Come on.
Well,
Yes.
This was years and years ago, and I witnessed this mom. She was just boo-hooing, just sobbing. Yeah.
At the facility, sure.
Yeah, and I saw one of our occupational therapists walk up, put her arm around her, walked her into the bathroom, and went in there and cried with her.
And that is the beauty of what you get to do.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of what you've helped to lead. I think for everybody to understand that might listen to us or subscribe to us, and Chris might be new to you. Chris is not new to me. One of the reasons I love what you do and well, first off, you're just an incredible man. And I admire who you are and what you do. And that's not on camera. That's off of camera, 100%. But the fact that you guys help kids and families that are in a place where it's not always all bad, but it's like there's some help that's needed. You guys step up and provide it. And I've told you many times, and some of you have heard this story, but like there's no other organization in Middle Tennessee that I would ever, there are a lot of great organizations, but there's only one that I would ever go to somebody and go, you really have to go look at this. You've got to go here. You've got to see what they do. You've got to hear what they do. And it's you all at Special Kids. The love that you have for children is so incredible. I've never seen it in another organization. The way that you all do it with professionalism, the way that you do it with excellence is, I think it's second to none. And so the cool thing, though, is that you remind me so much of one of the folks that, I'm a Chick-fil-A background. And so Truett Cathy founded Chick-fil-A. He was the visionary for it, the funder for it, if you will. And then we had this gentleman named Jimmy Collins. And he is the reason that Chick-fil-A is still what Chick-fil-A is today and what it's become today. He took that vision and he took that initial investment, and he was the guy that just made it happen. He took that vision and made it life.
Wow.
And I feel like when I look at you, I see Jimmy. And Jimmy's been retired for a long time. He's a dear friend. But when I see what you've done with Special Kids, you took the initial vision, which was wonderful, and it had to happen. But you took it and you have stewarded that vision, and you have grown that vision, and you have impacted so many families in Middle Tennessee and beyond. So just from me personally to you, I just want to say thank you for doing that. You don't get enough credit because you're a leader, and I know what you have done for children in Middle Tennessee is incredible. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart and your family for doing what you do in your team.
Well, thank you. That's probably a little too much credit toward myself, but we've had a lot of leaders and a lot of our board members that have parlayed into that success and stories of kids' lives being changed. It's an interesting space. One of the struggles I had with God when He was calling me and Haley to be part of this is that I said at the time, I don't have any kids, God, and I don't know anything about rehabilitating kids that have special needs. And He said, I don't care.
I got you.
I don't care about that.
Yeah.
Just, He wants the willingness.
Yep.
Was it Isaiah that said, "Here, hey, I'm here, send me. I'll go do that." And so, in some way, that's what He calls all of us to do with whatever the call is. I have to tell you this. I was walking in the parking lot one day, and I hear, it's obviously a teenage young man's voice, and I hear out of this van say, "There's Chris Truelove." I was like, and it was one of.
I say that every time I see you too, right? But yeah,
but there's times where you get interactions with our families and the kids and patients, and they just, God uses them to bless so much. I was like, that's awesome, right? Who goes to work and they say, "There's Chris Truelove." It's like, that's really cool. So he's one of my buddies. And then it happened again the other day with a little guy. He's about 10, and I saw him through the glass, and I could read his mouth. And he was telling his grandmother, "There's Chris Truelove." So I had to go out there and talk to him. And
the next hire for you guys is security. Right, for you, I think that's probably
security
it.
for everybody around me to protect them from me.
Well, hey, brother, I can't thank you enough for doing this and for being here. And I think I would tell our listeners like that, if you've got questions or thoughts, we could probably invite Chris back. Maybe, I don't know. You come sit around a fire with me again.
Sure,
right?
I'd love that.
But you've got somebody that has decades of wisdom and growing something to from something that's small and a thought to something that is incredible in scale. So thank you for sharing your wisdom and insights with us. One final word. Do you have anything else that you're like, gosh, I didn't think about this, but boy, I've got to say it before we go?
This would permeate any industry, any family, any job or hobby. And my wife reminded me of this morning. I said, "What do you think I should say to Beau today?" And she said, "Well, you said it the other night on the couch. You've got to work through the hard to get to the good stuff." Ooh. I was like, I'll say that.
That's a whole nother episode, Chris. That is so, yeah.
What's so funny is we were watching some TV show and there was some peril going on. And as it worked out, I said that you got to work through the hard to get to the good stuff. And she's like, "Let's write that down somewhere."
Man.
So
yeah, put that in your notes.
I thank my bride for reminding me of that.
That's usually the way it goes, isn't it?
Yeah, she's really good.
Well, brother, thank you again for being here. Listeners, write in your questions. If you got anything for Chris, we'll bring him back. We might have to pay him next time. I don't know. But thank you so much for tuning in. Chris, thank you for being here. And we hope to see you next time on our next episode of Launch Point Leader.